Home and Away spoilers Theo's crushing ordeal as Gage gets revenge. Next week on Home and Away in the UK. As Gage gets his revenge on Theo for sleeping with Lacey, is Theo about to be crushed to death? After playing with fire for the past few weeks, Theo is about to get well and truly burned, now that Riverboy leader Gage has discovered Theo's been hooking up with his girlfriend, Lacey. Theo and Lacey first laid eyes on each other during Theo and Sunny's initial visit to the Riverboy compound, having been promised some mechanic work. Although it soon became clear that the work was on dodgy cars that the Riverboys were stripping for parts to use in their illegal street racing, Theo was preoccupied with the sight of Lacey polishing a classic car. When he later caught sight of Lacey kissing Gage, that should have been all the warning that Theo needed to stay away. But temptation proved too great when Theo roped himself into driving in one of the races for Gage. On a high after winning the race, and with Gage otherwise occupied with collecting all the winnings, Theo slipped away with Lacey and slept with her in one of the garages. Since then, the two have been stealing moments together behind Gage's back, much to the concern of Sunny, who tried to warn Theo off. But the pair finally sailed too close to the wind last week when, after taking a spin in Theo's newly pimped-up car, they inadvertently shared a kiss in full view of Gage. Gage was seething, but didn't immediately confront the pair. He has something far more sinister planned, and Theo's about to find out just how dangerous it is to cross a river boy. Next week, Leah is curious about the mystery girl that Theo seems to be messaging non-stop. Theo opts not to give much away, knowing that Lacey's connection to the Riverboys wouldn't go down well. With a little more prompting, Theo eventually admits that the girl he's seen is already in a relationship and that her boyfriend isn't exactly a good guy. Leah doesn't press further, but she gives him a quiet warning to be careful. Theo later admits to Justin that things feel complicated right now, and asks what his thoughts are on cheating. Justin doesn't sugarcoat it. He tells Theo that honesty is the only way forward. If this girl means something to him, he needs to find out where he stands, because in the end, cheating is always a bad idea. Later in the week, Theo tells Sunny he sees a real future with Lacey, news that doesn't sit well with his friend. Down on the beach, Theo approaches Lacey despite Sunny's warnings. Just as Gage emerges from the surf, Lacey agrees to talk later, but moments after, Gage makes a point of pulling her into a possessive kiss. A short while later, Sunny again tries to convince Gage to let him take Theo's place behind the wheel. But Gage shuts it down. The cops are circling, and racing's off the table for now. Lacey uses the space to head to Salt, where Theo's waiting. He doesn't waste any time, telling her he wants something real between them. But Lacey panics, pointing out that Gage is dangerous, and getting serious is far too risky. As Theo protests, she accuses him of trying to control her just like Gage does. But Theo insists he genuinely cares. It doesn't matter. Lacey shuts it down. If Theo wants to keep seeing her, it's strictly on her terms. A relationship isn't happening. Outside, Sunny spies Lacey with Gage as he questions whether she ran into anyone in Salt. When she mentions that Theo was there, Gage points out that it's quite the coincidence that she's run into Theo twice in the same day. Sunny can read between the lines. He's sure that Gage knows what's going on. Sunny later shares his concerns with Remy and Bree over drinks at Salt. Keeping a close eye on Lacey, Gage and their Riverboy friends on the other side of the room. When Sunny catches Lacey at the bar, she asks him to warn Theo to stay away, and covertly puts her number into Sunny's phone so they can keep each other posted. The next morning, Theo heads to an old bus depot to meet with Gage, having been drawn in by the promise of a race, unaware that he's walking straight into a trap. Theo soon realizes that there isn't a race going on, as Gage explains that he'd like to discuss something with him. Theo goes to leave, but before he can, some Riverboys commandeer his car and drive it into the garage. Theo assumes that Gage is having second thoughts about letting him race in his own car. Lacey watches anxiously as Gage starts lecturing Theo about racers knowing their boundaries. Sensing things could spiral, she steps in, trying to calm Gage down and insisting he's already made his point. But Gage isn't playing games. His tone turns cold as he looks at her and quietly lets it slip. He knows about her and Theo. At that moment, Theo is dragged into the garage where he finds his car up on the hydraulic lift. Gage announces that it's time to get the show on the road, pushing Lacey into a nearby chair as the River Boys surround Theo and take hold of him, forcing Theo onto the floor underneath the car lift. The boys tie Theo down as Gage hops onto the lift with the control in his hand. Lacey, heart racing, manages to send a text to Sonny with their location, urging him to get there now. Back in Summer Bay, Sonny tries to call Cash, but isn't able to get hold of him. Gage laughs, relishing in Theo's fear as he begins to lower the lift. Theo and Lacey both beg Gage to stop, but he warns them that he's not even started yet. Theo tells Gage he's sorry for everything he's done, but it falls on deaf ears. They're interrupted by the arrival of Sonny, who rushes in to help Theo but is swiftly stopped by one of Gage's cronies. Sonny is led back outside where he's subjected to a severe beating and left unconscious. Back inside, Theo's life is very much in danger as Gage shows that he wasn't bluffing. As Lacey pleads with Gage to stop, he lowers the car onto Theo's chest, who screams out in agony. "Watch him go, watch him go," he tells Lacey, forcing her to look as Theo struggles to breathe. Soon enough, Gage decides it's time to clear out, as he throws the lift control to one side and orders Lacey to leave. As Theo begins to fade, Gage forces Lacey into a car as the River Boys rush to vacate the premises. Spotting Gage coming to, Lacey calls out to ask if he's okay as the car speeds away. Sonny forces himself to overcome his pain as he heads back into the garage, where he finds Theo unconscious. He frantically tries to raise the car back up, but Gage has broken the control unit. As he tries to seek out his phone, will Theo be able to get help before it's too late? Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more movie spoilers next week. Goodbye and see you again.